So today I would do a video that I never do. I normally just do like my fast motion videos on my channel, but I decided to mix it up a little bit. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys Julia Child's Queen Sheba cake recipe. I have seen like the black and white version, like uncut and stuff, and I went through and found all the measurements and wrote them all down here. And I'm going to show you guys how to make it today because I thought it would be super cool too. And it's kind of harder to follow along with those old videos because they're just uncut and they can't, and back then they didn't like, can put the recipes in it too, I guess. So I'm going to insert some footage in the top corner here of the recipe while I'm making it. And yeah, I hope you guys find this helpful and enjoyable. Let's get started. So the ingredients you will need is 3 egg yolks, 3 egg whites, 2 tablespoons of coffee. You could also use rum or water, it's up to you. You're going to need a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. You're going to need 2/3 cup of chocolate chips, which is 4 ounces. You're going to need 3/4 cup of cake flour, make sure it's cake flour, not all-purpose. You're going to need 2/3 cup of just white granulated sugar. You're going to need 1 stick or 1/2 cup of unsalted butter that's like pretty much melted and it's been cooling for a little bit, just like so. A 1/3 cup of almond flour. It's just blanched almond flour. They're buy in the bag, or you can grind up blanched almonds yourself. And you're going to need like a pinch of salt and an extra 2 tablespoons of sugar for the meringue. Now we're going to get started. So what we need to do is we need to turn on our kettle, and you can just do this over a pot of simmering water. So I'm going to turn this thing on here. Okay, how does this thing work? So I'm going to bring this to the boil, and while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to take my coffee, rum, or water. It's completely up to you. And I'm going to take a bowl. You could also just get like a bigger bowl like this and do a bain-marie kind of thing. But I'm just going to do this how I would normally do it, because these bowls ideally fit over the top of this. Just fits in like that. It wasn't designed that way, but that's how I use it. So I'm going to take my chocolate chips and I'm going to dump them into the bowl. And I'm also going to take 2 tablespoons of coffee, you could use rum or water, and put it over top of your chocolate chips, just like this. And I'm going to put it over top of my bain-marie. And I'm going to melt the chocolate slowly, just over top of this, and stir it occasionally as you're waiting for the water to come to a simmer. And be careful while you're doing this until it's nice and soft. And you want it to be thin, so if your chocolate is more on the thick side, add a little bit more of your coffee, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add another tablespoon of the coffee. Not quite a tablespoon. And then I'm just going to mix that in. Just keep mixing. It should be a bit more thin. So I'm going to rephrase that. 3 tablespoons of coffee, and add some water to it. Or you can add more coffee, which is what I did. So you want it to be nice and thin. So now what you want to do is take 2 tablespoons of that soft butter and just spread it all around the pan, making sure that you don't miss any spots. Now what you want to do is take about 2 tablespoons of that cake flour and just throw it in the middle of your pan and bump your pan around so that the butter sticks to the flour, and get it all around the sides of the pan. I'm going to bring our mixer over. So I have just this electric mixer here. And what you want to do is add your 1/2 cup of very soft butter. This is how soft mine is. I just microwaved it because it was frozen earlier. So just like that, very soft. Just so if you're wanting to beat this by hand, it's easy to do. So once you've added all of your butter in there, you're gonna add your 2/3 cup of just regular white granulated sugar into your bowl as well. It should become fluffy very fast since you already had your butter pretty melted. Check on your chocolate, make sure it's still thin, and mix it around when you can. Add our egg yolks. So I have 3 room temperature egg yolks, and we're gonna plop those in, and then save the whites because we're gonna need to whip those up in a little bit. About 4. As you can see, it's nice and fluffy, just like that. It holds itself up. We added the egg yolks. Now we are done with this. So we're gonna save our butter and sugar mixture, put it to the side for now. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab another large bowl and a hand mixer. You could do this by hand because you don't need to get them that stiff, but I'm gonna use a hand mixer just to make it go by a little bit faster. You're gonna add your other 3 large egg whites to your bowl, and you can ensure that there's no yolks in it at all. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna whip it until it's nice and foamy. Foamy just like this. We're gonna add a pinch of salt to it just to help stabilize our egg whites while we're whipping them. So just a pinch, that's all you need. And then what you're gonna need is a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar to your egg whites as well. And we're gonna beat that in until it's nice and smooth. So at this stage, it's almost at a peak where it holds, just about there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar to our egg whites, and we're going to mix that in until it's a little bit stiffer. So now once your egg whites are at a consistency where a peak holds without falling, you are ready to start finishing up your batter. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our chocolate that we melted a little bit ago. It should be nice and smooth like this. As you can see, very nice and smooth. There's no clumps in it at all. And if there is clumps, then you got a problem, and I would start over here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just dump all of our chocolate into our butter mixture. Very important that you don't dump it into your egg whites, because then that'll deflate them very fast. So now we have them here. And we're going to mix those in on about medium speed. You finish mixing in your chocolate and it's well combined, add your almond flour in. Just like so, and let that mix on low speed. Once that's well combined, you're going to add your 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. You can find this at most grocery stores. All you need is a 1/4 teaspoon of that. No more, or else it'll only taste of almonds, and you want it to taste of many other things as well. So So we're gonna mix that in as well. Now that looks pretty good. We're going to add our flour mixture in now. So all we have is flour right in here, and we're just gonna dump that whole thing in, just like so. And now just start mixing that in. Now that that's mixed in, we're going to take it off. And we have our spatula right here. What you want to do is add about half of your whipped up egg whites to this, and you're going to fold them in. So go around the bowl and inwards. You can do that roughly for the first go, but you don't want to beat the air out of the egg whites because you want this cake to be very light and airy. And if you overbeat your egg whites, you'll notice that they'll clump up in here. This is just at the right consistency. Now that we have that added in, we're going to add our last half of them right into the bowl. So that's all you need there. And what you're going to do is you're just going to fold that in as well. Going around the bowl and inwards, just like so. Around the bowl and in, around the bowl and in. And just keep folding that in until you can no longer see the egg whites. Don't be too rough with it at this stage, just because it's a very light batter. And keep going around, make sure that everything is mixed in. And once you no longer see egg whites in your batter, it is ready to be put into the pan. So once your batter is all done, you're going to put it into your pan that you have already greased, not with cooking spray, but with your butter and flour. And we're gonna just dump all of that in. Before you put this in the oven, if you see any little bits of egg whites that were left in there that you didn't get, just smooth that around, get everything off your spatula. And what you want to do is take your batter and run it around the sides of the pan, almost to the point where it's coming near the top. Go around the whole thing. It's thick enough to the point where it's not gonna overflow. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna put this in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes. Set your timer for 25 minutes and then check it, and then if it's not quite ready, I'll show you what it will look like when it's ready. So let's go bake it. Now we're making the icing. So I'm bringing my same water that I used earlier up to the simmer, and I'm going to put the same thing, 2/3 cup of chocolate chips into the bowl. I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of coffee, same stuff that I used earlier. And now we're making the frosting. So you're just going to put that on top of your double boiler and have some unsalted butter that's at room temperature beside you. And stir this while you're waiting. You're going to need about 6 tablespoons, so probably use the majority of this here. And we're just going to let this melt on top of our double boiler. Alright, so now my chocolate is completely melted and it's nice and liquidy. You can turn down your heat quite a bit, just have it simmering slightly. Take your butter, I'm using unsalted, which is what I recommend that you use. Take about a tablespoon at a time. I'm going to do 6 of those tablespoons and then stir it in. This is a very simple icing for the cake. And just keep stirring it in until it's well combined. Make sure you only do this one at a time or else it will get too cold and then the butter won't melt anymore. Just until it's melted, that's combined. So now I'm going to add my next tablespoon. Next tablespoon is in. Now that that's stirred in, we're going to add our next tablespoon. 3. 4 more. Each time you do this, you wait until the previous time. And then you're going to have this delicious coffee, rum, or just plain old chocolate, whatever you decided, flavored icing to go on top of your cake. So now we have our cake that has been cooling for about half an hour, and it's nice and like room temperature roughly. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to go around the edges, with a knife. Is you're going to take a cooling rack and you're going to flip it over, and it should flop down very nicely, and then you should be able to lift it right off. It's beautiful, isn't it? Like, I think it's gorgeous and it's a beautiful color. What you want to do with a steady, careful hand, flip your cake back onto the proper side. It'll be very crumbly, that's what you want. And then you've got your cake ready. And now you're going to take your delicious runny ganache, and make sure you have a plate underneath or else you're going to have to clean off your whole table. And we're going to dump it over the top of our cake.